Hello, friend. I want to encourage you to pull up a chair, sit down, and take a few moments to refocus. A few moments to renew perspective that may have been weighed down by circumstances, by many demands and pressures, or just needs a lift. I encourage you to invest these moments intentionally. Pull aside with me. Take a few moments and invest them together. It's often in the quiet moments of the early morning that I find my clearest thinking, my most refreshed perspective, and it's a little after 1 a.m. to give context on October 24th, 2019. And as I sit here in our room and reflect, I'm blown away with a perspective so rich, so encouraging, and so hope-filled that I had to turn on this camera and invest these moments together with you. So that's my heart, that's the context, and from that I want to talk about finding God in unending transitions. We've all been there. We've all been in moments where the change doesn't seem to relent, the trials don't seem to cease, the pressures seem to keep growing. And in those moments, it's so easy to get disoriented by the circumstantial sway of the moment and lose sight of the bigger picture. So my heart here is to dial back and dial in, to really understand what's going on in the times of great transition. Dr. Ed Cole wrote in his book Never Quit that change brings crisis and crisis brings stress. But he developed that to show that that's the natural progression in life. Change is the pathway to growth. It's the pathway to becoming the person we were created to be. It's under that forging that we really become the person that we were put on the planet to be. So instead of being a setback, it's actually a setup. After all, a diamond is forged in the most unpleasant circumstances. Abundant pressure, massive heat, and an extensive amount of time. Oh, and then comes the cutting. Great beauty and astounding strength are forged. Make no mistake about it. You can't buy it. You can't shortcut it. You can't just make it happen. And as I pause and I reflect in these early morning moments, it's been a time of great transition, friends. It's been unending. It's been over 2 years in this journey with Emery and Mercy, and there's some moments I lose total perspective and I get disoriented and discouraged, even depressed, with the long-term nature of Emery's journey, her pain, the suffering, the limitations. The angst is real. But when I take a step back, as I have in these early moments in the late evening and early morning, and I peel back, I see my Father's heart. I see how He is flipping, redeeming, and turning some of the greatest sorrow, the greatest suffering that's been so prolonged for our highest good and for His glory. How He turns the mess into a message. How He turns the pain into a place of purpose. And how He is revealing His heart to radically redeem and restore. I want to encourage you to just take a step back in your own circumstances, wherever you may be, whatever may be going on. Take a step back. Find a place of silence and solitude to really seek God and to seek Him with your whole heart. Because I guarantee you, He will show up and renew your perspective as you diligently seek Him. Too much is at stake to go through life with a clouded lens, seeing things only from a short-sighted perspective. Life is a long game. It's not a short game. You know what I mean? Life is a long-term process, not a short-term gratification. And in a culture that glorifies the short term over the long term, it's easy to lose sight. It's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to get depressed. It's easy to even lose all hope because of a loss of perspective. That's what I've been growing in these last couple years in extraordinary lengths, and that's why I invite you into these mercy moments and these Emery episodes, because I want to just give you a little glimpse of the bigger picture and encourage you to think big. Don't think small. Don't let your current circumstances limit you. Be liberated, friend, with God's perspective, what He's up to. I love what Paul said to the church of Philippi. It reaches through the chasms of time over the decades and millennium to us right now. And he said that He who began the good work in you will carry it out into completion to the day of Jesus Christ. God's after a lifetime process, not a momentary relief or a momentary triumph. He's after a long-term goal to conform us into the image of His Son, for us to know Him, to forge a covenant relationship of trust. Do you see His bigger picture? Step away with Him and be renewed, friend.